to you crabs. So I'm a little bit up underneath the weather, so forgive me if I'm moving a little bit slower, but still have my wits about me. Anyway, you have the Two of Raphael, the Ten of Ariel, and then you have the Divine Guidance. So these three cards right here uh, for you crabs. I can't say the C word, but for you crabs, y'all are essentially like good. You're listening to your own instincts, your own intuition about somebody. And a lot of you crabs are very much so dating smarter, better, you know, smarter, better, more intelligent. A lot of you crabs are actually getting to know some of the people. And as a result of this, as a result, you crabs very much so are, excuse me, you crabs are very much so doing your thing, like it is I've been talking about. When it is that you crabs date now, I see that a lot of you are going to use your head. You're going to pay attention, right, to see. You understand that everybody has flaws, but what will they show you? What will they show you? Will they show you all types of nonsense, right? Or is it that they on some stuff? And you're just paying attention to that, right? Because I talked about this. I talked about this stuff before. That like that like you have to pay attention to see if a person actually is like a decent person or if they're wasting time. Because people will act like they so on point, and this is what it is now. This is one of the things that I on this channel I really try to like let people know about, like, and I'm glad that more people are really starting to peep game about it. Like, just because a person shows up and they cool does not mean that they're gonna be like that forever. This is why you gotta pay attention to see if they just acting cool with stuff like this. You know what I mean? Or if the two of you actually have things in common, right? How are they? And this is what I mean when I say that, like, you have to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, you basically get game from paying attention. In essence, you just pay attention. And then you have the Six of Ariel and the Seven of Gabriel. So these three cards right here for you represent how excuse me y'all are in a particular situation where you crabs very much so, this is about like, this is more so about like, you just staying focused and making sure and just paying attention, right? What kind of person are they? Do they put in work? Are they reciprocal, right? Because like and I've talked about this before over and over, like a lot of these relationships are not reciprocal. A lot of these relationships are one-sided, right? Like, you'll be the one, right? Or sometimes other people will be the one putting it on. What I'm not necessarily talking about you. I'm saying in a general sense. It'll be one person putting in the work, and then the person gets tired of giving, because it's like, why is it that said person is not giving back? And then it becomes a problem. And then the other person is like, oh, well, I didn't ask you to do that. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, you weren't decent enough to stop me and say, hey, I don't like you like that either. See, the responsibility is on both people. Because if I don't like somebody like that, I'm gonna stop them and say, hey, you do not have to do this. I didn't ask you. I'm letting them know immediately. I didn't ask you to do all of that, because I'm just doing this just for the sake of doing this. Like, I ain't ask you to do all of that. Like, I'm letting you know right now, I did it for the free ski. I did it for free just because I like doing good deeds for people, and just to I'm not really looking for anything other than friendship. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like with that being said, right? Like, it's not a business transaction. So so check to see if this is transactional or if the connection between yourself is not transactional. Now, the correct answer is it should not be transactional. This is something that the two of you should be doing for the sake of the relationship. But if it is transactional, then that's what it is that you have. You know that you can't trust this person based upon the fact that it's transactional. So the seven of Raphael, the nine of Raphael, and the chariot right here speaks to how, since that's the case, a lot of you, uh, crabs, basically, um, if this person is essentially not up to par, you can always get back out there and get to know other people, right? But only under the conditions that they are not really up to par, because you don't want to. Because that's another thing too that I have to warn y'all about, right? Like, why a lot of people end up like hitting the wall, right? The proverbial wall when it comes to dating and stuff like that, or their life, because from the perspective of like they end up getting stuck romantically and a lot of doors closed, is due to the fact that they take a person for granted. And now, and what happens is that the law of the universe says you got to experience that, because that's evil, right? So I'm just letting you know so that you crabs can actually be successful. That's if the person really isn't up to par. If they're really not bringing in anything, then yeah, you can most definitely go somewhere else and get to know another person. The chariot, which is you crabs, right? Major arcana for y'all. Excuse me. Right? The chariot and the six of Raphael. Of course, you're going to have some people that are interested, who want to come back, who, but these are new faces though. Could be an old one, but these are new faces. And what I mean by that is some of the people whom you may have just started talking to, whom you have evaluated, they're not really going to be a good fit for you. So basically, you just dip out. You basically just dip out, because you crabs are like, oh, okay, you can't really trust them, blah, blah, blah. And see, the thing is that the two of Gabriel now speaks to how it's just that's the case. A lot of you happen to be in a situation where a lot of you happen to be in a situation where, like, excuse me, where, and yeah, get to know other people. So if a person doesn't work well for you, crabs, get to know someone else, because you don't have to sit there and put up with the nonsense. Treat people like, having people treat you like trash. You really don't have to put up with that, like, at all. Let's clarify the two of Gabriel. King of Cups, Emperor, Queen of Cups, the Tower card, and the Ten of Pentacles, right? So the Two of Wands, or the Two of Gabriel, Two of Wands basically, is about you. They expect you to kind of give them another chance. Obviously, that will be up to you, crabs, to give them another chance. Or you could go find someone brand new. If you crabs choose to go find someone brand new, then sorry about that. Matter of fact, let me wear this. If you crabs choose to go find someone brand new, right? Again, or maybe you may confront the person and let the person know that, like, yeah, in order for them to be with you, they got to actually cherish you. They're going to have to get off their butt. It's not just about, like, expecting you crabs to do everything while you work your butt off. You work and you handle your business while they wait on you and they do everything, right? Right? So, of course not. And so the ten of Pentacles, right? So the Ten of Pentacles right here speaks to how, again, Ten of Pentacles, an even number. 10 is an even number. 5 and 5, 50-50, right? And a lot of people get caught up with the percentage, and it's like, come again, like you dropping the ball and you you missing the mark of what I'm saying. Percentages is 100% represent the whole thing. That's what 100% is. So it doesn't matter if we're talking about whatever number, right? When we're talking about percentages, regardless of whatever number you're talking about, whether it's 200, whether it's this 100, whether it's that 100, when in the percent, and I'm sure y'all already know this, but in the percentages world, percentages are always out of 100. Why? Because 100 is the entire thing. So when I say 50-50, a lot of people, not all, but some people end up, they miss the mark. See, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, because people will be like, what about 100 and 100? Out of 100, right? Right? Because in the percentage world, we're talking about out of 100. So that's essentially what it is that I'm talking about. When I say 50-50, it's the principle, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about the same work and effort being put in out of 100%. The 50, don't get caught up with the 50%. The 50% does not denote me or imply me saying that they're half in and out. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm using the percentage laws of out of 100. So out of 100%, meaning the whole relationship, the entire relationship, 50-50 is about the both of us carrying the equal amount of weight. It has nothing to do with what about 100, 100, 100 out of 100% of the relationship. Yes, that's what I'm referring to. You know, sometimes people will kind of chastise me for that. They'll be like, are we talking about the same thing? Yes, we're talking about the same thing. Because because in the laws, like for instance, right, like when you start talking about percentages, you're always talking about the laws of what subject you're talking about is the 100% of the subject of what we're talking about. So if we say something like, what is 100% of 200? 200. Because the 200, the entire composition of 200 is 200. So if you're talking about 100% of 200, that's 200, right? So it's the same scenario when I say 50-50. Both parties have to be carrying the equal amount of weight. Otherwise, it's parasitic. But I'm using the 100 thing as the most simplistic or the most simple thing that you possibly can. I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying, metaphorically backstabbing people and being in and out. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to, if I'm doing half the work that makes the relationship work, then you got to do half the work that makes the relationship work as well. You dig what I'm saying? So that's what I'm referring to. I'm not, sometimes you'll get people that take things out of context. I didn't say all of that. See, word is bond. I didn't say all of that. Let's clarify the 6 of the Raphael. Matter of fact, let's clarify the divine guidance. I didn't say all of that. I'm not referring to being half-seasons. I'm not referring to treating people like trash. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to making sure that both parties don't get played, because both parties see sweat equity on both sides. If one person is doing half of the relationship, then what's to stop the other person from doing the other half of the relationship? If 100% of the relationship is the relationship, and one person is doing the vast majority of the relationship, it's not 50-50. The one person out of the entire relationship, aka the 2 people, is doing 60%, 70%, 75%, while the other person is nowhere near meeting them halfway. And they're not interested in meeting them halfway. That's what I'm referring to. So the person who is not meeting the other person halfway means they're not willing to pick up the slack when they know they should. Because why is it that one person is doing 75% of the work? They're doing the financial work. They're doing they paying all the bills. They doing the emotional work. They're trying to be loving. They're trying to be romantic. They're going out on all these trips and gifts and stuff like this. Okay, but what? Okay, the other person who's doing 25% of the work, we are examining in this 100% of the relationship, what is this person who is doing so much less is actually doing? They may buy you a cologne every now and again, and every couple of years. They may do this, they may do that every couple of years. They may tell you that they love you every couple. This is why I say that all healthy relationships, the functional relationships, is 50-50. Because if I'm doing something and you doing something, that means that both of us is not getting played. If I'm paying all the bills, I'm picking you up from work, paying all the bills, doing the emotional work, doing the romantic stuff, and you doing and you just doing so much less. You quit your job, you doing this, you parasitizing off of me. You a parasite. So that's what I'm referring to. So to clarify the divine guidance, you have the Two of Wands, the Six of Wands, the Moon card, the Devil card, and then you have the Nine of Wands, right? So I'm going to explain it in my other videos as well, because I don't want people to miss the mark and drop the ball. It's like, nah, like I'm not having that on my channel. You know what I'm saying? I'm not having that. But to clarify the divine guidance, what I'm talking about is the Two of Wands and the Six of Wands and the Moon, right? These three cards right here for you crabs, you have a bird's eye view and a better understanding, a bird's eye view of the relationship. You understand what's going on in said relationship. So the Devil and the Nine of Wands speaks to how you crabs are very much so paying attention to how others are moving, and you are treating them fairly, mind you, but you're also paying attention to how other people are moving with you. And you're paying attention to see if they're trying to take advantage of you, right? 50-50. Can they reciprocate? If you come in, you don't mean any harm. You crabs are on some peaceful stuff. Can they come in too and show you love and show you attention and show you that they actually care about you and stuff like this? Or are they trying to take advantage, parasitize off of you, right? They're trying to make it seem like they're doing so much. They got so much hustle. Then they're doing so much. They have so much on their plate. But do they? You crabs are the one paying all the bills, doing the emotional work, giving them what they want, being romantic, taking trips. This is why I talk about 50-50, because I've been in many relationships myself that were not 50-50, and I was the one that had to do the work. I had to start the conversations, keep the conversations going, because the person didn't have squat to talk about, yet the person was calling me every 5 minutes, right? And a couple of them was acting like that. Then they're expecting me to have money constantly. Okay, but what finances are you bringing to the table? With all of this, with what you want. Okay, you want all of this. You want all this stuff. Okay, all right. You want all of this. What are you bringing? And the person get mad because I'm asking that question. Well, it takes two. I'm asking. It's a legitimate question. What are you bringing? Because it just seemed like I'm the one that's doing all the work and you just trolling me and getting me on my nerves and asking for so much. You want all that you want all this stuff. You're fascinated with all of these trips and you want all of this. So what are we talking about? And a lot of them couldn't give me an answer. And that was a sign for me to leave. Because this is why I don't put up with that crap. Now we will hang out. And when we hang out, you're gonna have to show me that you wanna hang out with me. Cause all of this, you shy stuff, you being reserved, and I'm holding back. You better knock that off before I leave you You better knock all that nonsense off before I go talk to somebody else and ignore your goofy behind. You stupid. I ain't playing games with you. Why? Cause what it is, Crabs, is that they setting you up. They setting you up for the antics is what they do. They setting you up from the door. They letting you know, if I do less, this should be the norm of the relationship. And they're waiting to see if you'll be okay with it. That's why I be having I be putting a magnifying glass on them and looking at them closely, because I'm like, yo. So that's what I'm talking about. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Peace.